Welcome back, guys, to The Sober Truth. My name is Aaron.
My name's Ballard.
And we are your hosts for today's episode. And today's episode's topic is how substance abuse affects relationships such as family, friendships, and even romantic relationships at times. And it can affect even people just surrounding you. It can affect anybody in your circle of influence or your environment. And I have a funny story about this because at my school, we have a friend group that I was in for a long time, ever since we were young. And, I distanced myself from that friend group. I don't really talk to them anymore. But all I know is one of our good friends got into abusing substances, whatever they may be, right? So he started influencing the rest of our friends into doing what he was doing. And eventually everybody just fell into that stigma of, doing this is a good thing, this is
cool, right?
This is what people think are cool. That's totally not true, because the fact that all these boys that we were friends together even before whatever came, substance, whatever, whatnot, proves that we actually did have a genuine friendship. But that kind of got ruined by the fact that one guy decided to do something, and that just affected everybody else.
Honestly, I agree with that, because I actually have a funny story too. Well, my friend back 2 years ago was grade 9. He was telling me about how it's so cool hanging out with these people, right? I know them, but I was they're not the best crowd, so keep my distance from them. But I know them, right? And I know they do substances and stuff. So he started telling me they peer pressured him to do hit a vape, right? I was like, nah, that's not cool. But I'm not gonna judge you for that, But after I found out that the group's not good, started telling him to you gotta distance yourself a bit, not get peer pressure like that.
Yeah, because I feel peer pressure, especially at our age, is just the number one thing ready to happen. Because I feel right now at our age, and especially in high school, we're trying to find what fits our category, what we fit into. So people are some people like basketball, some people like sports, some people like to study, some people like to read. There's people that fall into certain cliques and certain activities that they feel is their go-to, that's their calling, right? For example, I love playing music, and I do that a lot at school. I know friends that are pretty good volleyball players. A lot of my friends play volleyball. But some people, they resort to substance abuse, and what can happen is that can just block out everything else. Because I know people that make substance abuse that their whole life. I see, we look at Instagram bios, you got the little leaf emoji in the bio, talking about, smoking and this, that. But I feel with that there, and with that habit being so imminent in somebody's life, it blocks out other natural friendships, natural relationships that you have with people. Because I had a friend, not a friend, but I just knew the guy pretty well. We weren't really close. But he had a girlfriend, and this girlfriend and him were pretty tight. They were, they would go everywhere together. They hang out, they would do everything together, and they were a really good couple. I was rooting for them. But then one day the girl decided, I'm gonna hang out with the group, whatever you want to call them, that group that does all that stuff. Nothing against them, it's just that's how they are. She decided, I'm gonna go hang out with them. And she started to get into their habits and whatnot because of peer pressure, like you said. But then my friend found out, and he was like, you shouldn't be doing that. That kind of hurts me too. Because the fact that you feel like you have to resort to something else makes me feel unworthy, right? So eventually it came to a point where she was like, I'd rather take this than you, because if you're not going to let me do this, why should I be with you? And I get you're not going to judge anybody for what they do and what they will have going on. But in a way, holding somebody accountable, especially somebody in a relationship, a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a significant other, if you're holding them accountable and telling them, that's not good for you, that's not good for me, and I don't want that to block anything between us. And the fact that some people still do choose the substance over the person goes to show how much substance abuse can really affect a relationship, even if it has strong roots. Such as what were you gonna say?
Sorry, not only relationships overall, but friendships too. My friend, after he told me they got peer pressure into doing it, and he's it's a one-time thing, you won't do it again, right?
Yeah.
It's it happens, but sometimes it's hard to believe that. Next day he's always doing it again. I'm okay, it gets to a point, right? He's doing it again and again, and then like there you go, like chill, stop, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, it started like ruining my friendship with him because every time we used to hang out every day after school, whatever, walk home, but he started hanging out with the wrong crowd and doing this, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, he just stopped hanging out with me, and just like less and less every day. Now I used to ask like, where you been, right? He's like, oh, he's been with them or that group doing those substances. I'm like, oh, okay. I wouldn't judge him for it because he has reasons, but still, you know, affected our friendship. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I gotta talk to him.
Yeah, because I feel like if it affects yourself, it comes to a point where you gotta be like, this is affecting my life too in ways that the guy doesn't even know, right? Because like, for example, in your friend who decided to, you know, try it once, but then fell into the cycle of just doing it over and over again, and you try telling him stop, did that work? I don't think that worked.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it is hard for somebody to get out of addiction. It doesn't matter what addiction it is, but like, especially when it comes to substance abuse and the feeling you get after, you know,
Like the dopamine.
yeah, the
right?
dopamine rush that you like, you know, get afterwards, you know, after taking these substances and whatnot. It's hard to let go of that, especially how like that affects your mental health and you're like captivated towards it, right? But it's almost like a barrier between like a friend and a friend. Just like, nah, you need yourself and you need substances only. Like you can live life without your friend, which is not true. Cause like I feel like even if one of my closest friends, I found out that he was doing substances, I would obviously go up to him and be like, that ain't right. You should think about that, and you should think about the people that it affects other than you, right? Because as we said, it's not just one person. It's like your circle of influence. It's your environment. And we said this is like especially imminent in schools because what I said about the peer pressure and whatnot, right?
And not only that, but since I talked about affecting friendships, you talked about affecting like relationships, also
Family.
yeah.
That's actually a really good one. Because like, you know, I feel like family relationships are affected by substance abuse in many different ways. Because I feel like some families have their rules and some families don't, right? I feel like there's families out there that condone it. They're like, you can do it, it's your body, it's whatever. And then there's families that are like so strict,
right?
like to the point where they don't like let the child go out after a certain time. Like that's like kind of outrageous. Like I know a friend I had, he couldn't go out past 4:30 because his mom was scared that he was gonna do something. I was like, that's the most innocent kid. I get the concern, but it kind of affects the relationship between mother and son, or father and son, or parent and child, whatever.
And honestly,
let me just finish this real quick.
Okay.
I know this is crazy, but like, it goes like, so eventually, a child, so a guy or girl gets into their teenage years, and then they start doing like, you know, they start going out, they start like becoming their own person, right? A parent can look at that and either be like, oh, that's my child and they're having fun, or like, he can get into any problem and I have to stop him from that, or she can get into anything and I have to prevent that from happening. It affects a family relationship too, just not even just the parents who like start pressuring that child, but siblings too, or like cousins, or like even like that family circle, family friend relationships. Because I feel like those relationships, depending on the family, are really close. Because like I know families that are like, they live together and they're cousins and they're like big houses and they all do stuff together. I feel like one person in that can just like, it's like adding fuel to a fire. It can just spread so fast, right?
and honestly, yeah, like I said, how it affected my friendships too. Saying out every day, his mom even knew me too, right?
Yeah.
And after a while, he started hanging out with the wrong crowd and, you know, doing these substances.
Yeah.
It was kind of too late to like, you know, save him or whatever. Because I also didn't want to judge him at the same time. But I used to talk to him a bit. And this one time, like, he just came home late. And I was like wondering, like, you never do that, right? It's like, what, past like 6? I was like, that's crazy because you always on time.
Yeah.
And think about this, it just started happening more and more. Like every day after school, he just started hanging out later and later. And it got to a point where it's like parents called me. It's like, do you know where he is? Because his parents like always see us hanging around.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
I was like, no, I actually didn't see him, right? And it affected our friendship, and not only our friendship, but the relationship with her mother.
The fact that like, okay, my mom has trust in other friends that I have too. And if I'm not somewhere, like if I'm not home at a certain time, of course my mom's gonna call my friend and be like, you know where he is? Are you with him? What is he doing? Right? But think about it this way. That mom, like, cares about her son to the point where she knows you, calls you, and if you kind of feel bad to the point where like, okay, I don't even know where he is. What is he up to? Now you're worried, right? This is how like, even family, like, can affect friends, and friends can affect family, and they can intertwine together to like create commotion over one single person, and it can all just start from one guy.
Yeah, and honestly, I agree with that too. But not only did it affect all those problems, it started affecting everyone like around them, right? So he used to start coming to school, and I know he used to sleep late, right? He used to tell me, oh, he's like gaming all night, doing homework, whatever, right?
Sure.
And he used to come to school like red eyes, right? And I obviously know like he didn't get sleep.
Yeah.
But other people used to assume that like, oh, look, he's high. You know, all these rumors spread around.
Yeah, for sure.
Because once you hear like, oh, he vaped once, right? And then just assumptions.
It creates like an image of you that you didn't even want.
Yeah, and it's not even true either. It's hard to defend yourself when there's
Exactly. Especially there's a lot of people are ready to like pounce on the fact that, oh, he did something. I know he did something. I have evidence. It can get crazy to the point where like people can frame you for doing something
that you like never done, right?
literally. Like there's kids I know that apparently smoke weed and they do that stuff all the time. It's just they talk to the wrong people once and they are associated with them now. That's not right, and that's just like demeaning of somebody's character. Because imagine a kid who's like really good, academic maybe, and obedient to his parents, whatever, right? He can just be like that star poster child, and then one day he decides to like talk to, you know, whoever, and his image gets tarnished. If he tries defending himself too, he's outcasted by his friends. And if he doesn't defend himself, he's looked upon like, oh, you're a drug addict. You do this stuff. So like you're not gonna defend yourself. It's always a double-edged sword, especially when it comes to like criticism from both ends. And I feel like this definitely happens like within our friend groups, like especially teenage friend groups, whether it be guy or girl or whatever. It can be literally like, it can happen anywhere, and I feel like it mostly happens in like teenagers.
Yeah, and honestly, when my friends started like getting hooked on, I told him like, you know, I talked to him like, you know, you gotta stop. And then honestly, he started realizing his mistakes, like, you know, it's affecting everything around me, friendships. So he's like, you know, okay, I'll stop. So whenever they say that, they don't really mean it, you know what I mean? But you know, I trusted him. So I started like seeing him come to me every day after school, hanging out with me. I'm like, okay, he's doing good. He's going to sleep early. He's keeping his distance from the wrong crowd. I'm like, okay, you know, he's actually changing. And I actually do believe in that because I believe in everyone has a chance, right?
For sure. You can go down the wrong path once, doesn't like define your character. Right? But continue on.
Yeah, anyways, as I was saying, so he started like getting, I was like, oh, he's good, right? But still, like, whatever's in the past, like, people love to bring it to your...
Of course. Like, everybody's ready to just like, oh, you did that like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Like it's,
how is that relevant to me now? I get that. I've done that before, but it doesn't make... It might have, quote-unquote, made who I am today, but that doesn't characterize what I am today now. I might have done stupid stuff in the past. That doesn't mean I'm stupid right now.
Exactly, because people on the friend group, he just kept saying, oh, he vaped, he did this and that, he looked high, right? Like, it's just...
I feel like that's just a bad friend group. Because I feel like as a friend, as a genuine friend, if you, like you, for example, you know how you're like, oh, I should care about this guy to the point. I'm going to make sure he goes to sleep. I'm going to make sure, like, okay, he's actually... And you notice where he's improving. Instead of noticing where improvement is happening, I feel there's a lot of people, especially like friends and our like generation with the stigma like, oh, doing that stuff is cool. People would just be like, oh, you know, he did that before. Yeah, he did that before. He used to do that all the time. And he's like changed now. There's like people that say that and I'm like, what are you doing? Like it gets to a point where like it feels like you're preying on everybody's downfall. And it's like a selfishness to the point where you just want that person to not improve, although you're their friend, quote unquote, right? But it's just crazy to think about. But I feel, you know, we talked a lot about circle of influence, and we talked a lot about how, you know, people around us can be affected, and one person can affect as many people as he can or she can.
Yeah.
And it comes to a point where it can affect relationships, and it can vary from so many different relationships, friendships, family, and you know, and other relationships and romantic relationships, and that's what we talked about.
And honestly, not just that, but like not even like everyone around you, right? It affected me too. Like I don't know if you get that, but you know, all these people in the washrooms that like go do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's always about that. And before
I was literally talking about that too.
I know. And before I went to class, I went to the washroom. My friend, you know, he was washing his hands.
It's always,
you know?
I know, because
and then
it's just crazy how like they all decide that, oh, that's more important than class. But that
Exactly.
was a topic for a different day because we did
Yeah.
talk about. I remember me and Sam did talk about that.
But yeah, the principal walked in and she's like,
Oh, your principal walked in.
Yeah, and then
That's
she's just
crazy.
like, what are you guys doing here? And like, we can't even say, like, we're just using the washroom. What would we doing here, right? They're just assuming things because other people that do stuff,
they
that's
just
me.
take it up.
Exactly.
And that's like, genuinely pisses me off.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we've talked about it enough to the point where I feel like we've gained awareness of the audience. Because, you know, this, I think our viewers know that this happens every day. Like, one person can affect somebody else and it can affect so many different people. But I feel like if you're a good friend, if you're like somebody that wants better for someone that you know, you have to like be the accountability partner to them. You got to be like, that ain't good, bro. You know, be like how you were before. Not even how you were before, but just like, don't depend on a substance to give you happiness. Find other things that are healthier, like healthier alternatives. But it's just like, you have to understand that it's all coming from a person's environment that affects them, and then that person can affect any other environment that they go into. Because for example, if like a kid grows up in like a bad neighborhood and whatnot, he gets into that stuff.
Yeah.
His friends at school, he's the number one, and everybody else just like becomes their, you know,
Like over time, maybe,
exactly.
you know?
Over time, everybody like adapts. But you know, I feel like to wrap up today's episode, talking about the circle of influence, talking about how that circle of influence can affect family, can affect friends, and it can affect significant others,
Even yourself.
even yourself. And it can all stem from like one person that did the wrong thing and wants to quote unquote like make other people feel cool. And it might not even be intentional. But as teenagers, I feel like as we go through high school, we have to know that we can't depend on that for happiness, and we can't force that upon other people to try just because it's a cool thing, and we can't make others feel bad for not doing it, because I feel a lot of people do that nowadays.
Yeah, I definitely see that too.
But you know, that wraps up today's episode.
Yep.
Thank you guys for tuning in to The Sober Truth. Once again, my name is Aaron.
And my name's Davik.
We were your hosts for today, and hope to see you next time.